Chat, it's Monday. You know what that means. Two things on stream. Number one, we usually listen to metal, but when you hear this music, that's a little bit more lo-fi. You know it's a YouTube video. We are hanging out over at twitch.tv/Lawler, where we do every Tuesday and Sunday. We don't, but all the other days we do. And we are going to be doing what we try to do every week now, which is explain that seeding. If you guys don't know what the heck I'm talking about, in the regional splits for winter, it is round robin groups into a double elimination bracket. There's certain classifications and stuff that come in, but every single week we're trying to break down why these groups are the way that they are. I haven't seen the groups yet. Apparently Psionics already tweeted them out, so we're going to see if we can be 100% on the money again. But we're going to go and do the math to show you guys how this is done, explain exactly why teams are in certain places, and sometimes my brain has a hiccup and then chat keeps me in line. So we are literally going to be showing you guys exactly how the groups are made and what they should be. And then if I make a mistake, then we'll be corrected. So we're going to take a look. Let's jump over to the other page. I've got two things up on the screen. Number one, I've got all the teams that are invited. These are your 16 teams that are going to be playing in the RLCS. 8 of them, these 8, are coming from the closed from the points, overall RLCS points, which are these numbers. These are your 8 highest. That's who gets automatically invited. We then have 8 teams that came from the closed qualifier, and they were then brought into your final main event. Okay. After that, they then reseed everybody based upon the 3 most recent events and the points that they have earned. So we can make this really straightforward. There's 3 tiebreakers that they do. Number 1 is the 3 most recent events. Number 2, if they are tied, they do the overall RLCS points, which is the other bracket I showed you. And then the last one is how they played in the closed qualifiers. I've got all the rankings up. I'm also probably going to do this and bring up the closed qualifier results as well, just to make sure in case we need to cross-reference for ties. Because what I mean by them playing close or not is if they went 3-0 or 3-1, whoever did better here is who wins tiebreakers. So with that said, let's get through everything here. There's also some pretty crazy stuff about the stories and who made it in. There was a tiebreaker match between these two teams. I think it was EG and Williams Resolve. I could be wrong. And Williams Resolve probably won again. Yeah, so they had a tiebreaker to see who made it automatically into the closed qualifier. It was Williams Resolve. They won 4-2. Both teams get into the closed qualifier and then end up qualifying anyway. So it ended up working out. Yeah, EG made it, and Williams Resolve automatically got an auto bid because they were tied. So Williams Resolve won the tiebreaker. They automatically get the 8th seed. EG has to play through the closed qualifier. So it was for the main event. I got those 2 backed up. We will take a look at these results and have those as well as the overall ranking. So the way that it works, like I said, we're looking at the 3 most recent events. We now have our 16 teams. That's what is all bolded here. I deleted the other ones in the standings that are no longer in the way. And we're going to go from that. 3 most recent events. Who has the most points? Number 1, BDS. They haven't won an event, but they're stupid consistent. Why people think they need to change things up and everybody's worried, I don't know. The exact same thing happened. People keep talking about BDS. You need to drop this player, this and that. They didn't win a single event in the first regional. They went 250, 200, 200, which is second, third, and then won a major. They're kind of on the same track here. A 3rd place result. Yes, they got swept. Yes, it didn't look pretty on the final day. Queso was playing really well, and so was Dignitas. It happens. It's one day. If we see them slack in this event as well, which 3rd place is not slacking. They just have set an expectation way too high for everybody. But as long as they go to the major, they're fine. That's all that matters. Either way, consistency more important. BDS is your first seed. They are number 1 in the group. Number 2, we're looking at points, is actually Endpoint. Endpoint is your number 2 seed. Number 3 is Dignitas. Number 4 is then Semper. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. 5th will now be next under 760, which is 501, which is actually Team Queso because they won the event. They bump up quite a bit. I've also got to make this bracket or column bigger. Okay. 6 under 501 is 480, which will be Team Vitality in a group with Dig. Gosh, talk about a throwback. 7 under 480 is 310, which will then be K-Corp. 8 will then be 300, which is Williams Resolve. Did I just write WR? I'm just going to write WR. Makes more sense. At 10, so under Williams Resolve, is 300. We then go to 260, which is EG. 9 under 260. We'll see if there's ties now. 260, 150, 180. So Luminosity, which is actually LG for Luminosity Gaming. 11 is then Cookster's Minions. I put these in the wrong order. This should be EG. This should be LG. I did those backwards. My apologies. That should be better now. 12, which was, let's see. So we did Cookers Minions, right? Which was 170, 180, 150 is the next highest, which is Misfits. We then go to 13, which is 130. So 00 Nation. 14. Who's the next highest? Navi. 15. So these two are tied. So they both have 0 points. We then go to overall RLCS points. Guild is actually higher. And then it's Stormtroopers. This might be the easiest one to do. Did I do EGs wrong? Winter Regional 1, Fall Major. Yeah, they should be way higher. No, 260. I'm right. EG's right on the money. That should be correct. I think that's your groups. I think that's just it. Unless I did something completely wrong. These all going to be bigger and bold and centered in both ways. I think that's just your groups. Did we do it right? So the thing I was talking about is every single week, Sonics used to not release these until like Thursday. And then they started releasing them on Tuesday. And then, ironically enough, before we started our stream today, they actually put them out early. So they're getting better about it. So we can actually check to see if we're 100%. BDS, Williams Resolve, Luminosity Guild. BDS, Williams Resolve, Luminosity Guild. Endpoint, K-Corp, EG, Stormtroopers. Endpoint, K-Corp, EG, Stormtroopers. Dig, Vitality, Misfits, 00. Dig, Vitality, Misfits, 00. Semper, Queso, Cookship Minions, Navi. Semper. So we did it. We're 100% right. Stonks are ascending. But hopefully this makes sense for you all and how you're able to figure this stuff out. A lot of people have been upset with the seeding, and the issue they're upset about is not the right thing. People are mad because they see the groups made and they're like, well, that's dumb. This team shouldn't be there because of that. But based upon the tiebreakers and everything else, they are right on the money. They're going by a specific set of objective rules, and that's why they're put. If you want to disagree with those rules, if you want to say, hey, I don't like the way these tiebreakers are done, if you're going to automatically give these 8 teams an automatic bid into the event, why are you then reseeding them after they're given an automatic spot? That's where people are getting frustrated. Now, if you want to say, hey, hypothetically, that 1 through 8, and this is, I guess, where I want to go with it. If this is just the way they do it, right? And they just keep these the same, I'm curious on how things would play out, actually. So if they just said, hey, overall points, that's where you get automatically put in. That's where you stay. And then they adjust these instead. I would be interested. I would actually be really interested if we did that. So if we get rid of these, actually, will they play the tiebreaker? So we would still give Williams Resolve here. And then EG is the other one that has to go through. And then they seeded after that. I'm curious on how things would play out. So we go to the next highest, which would be EG at 260. And then after 260, it would be 180, which would be LG. Yeah, LG. I'm curious on what groups would look like instead. So 180, then it's 170, which is just Minions. 12 would then be Misfits. And I think the rest just stay the same, right? The last 4 stay the same. Those groups look pretty similar. In fact, there's only 2 that change, which is Vitality and Queso. That's the only thing that changes if they automatically give 8 in the exact same spots of what they were. So if that, instead of saying, hey, and what I'm talking about, see if I can explain this better for those that don't understand, is if you go through here, right, and you go to the main event, 8 teams are automatically given a spot into the regional, right? They're all done through point ranking, and point ranking is determined by your overall points, 1 through 8 here, right? These 2 are tied, so they had them do a tiebreaker. That's just what I'm going to use because it's relevant. So Williams Resolve gets the nod instead. And then because of that, they keep 8, 1 through 8, no matter what, because they're going by RLCS points to give them an automatic spot. But instead, what they do is they then reseed everyone once they get into the main event. They say, okay, we now have our teams. Seed them by recent, rather than saying, hey, you automatically got it. They like create that separation. That's where people are upset. That's where people have the conversation about how things should be done or not. But realistically, it doesn't change too much, does it? It changes 2 teams around. That's it. Will that have an everlasting effect? If we were to do predictions briefly, it definitely changes here a lot. Queso, I think, adds more than Vitality does. This group, I think Misfits has a better chance to take 2nd overall than Vitality. So like, it definitely changes some things for sure. Like, this group is significantly harder. With Endpoint, Queso, and Misfits, it's so much harder. Like, Misfits, I think, is a clear number 2. I mean, they both end up in the lower bracket, but that's assuming Endpoint continues to do what they do. On this side of things, Dig here instead of Endpoint. I mean, yeah. I mean, it makes some differences. It really does. Seeding based upon the initial placement versus 3 recent events for everybody. Arguments for both. But if you're gonna seed some by one and then some by a different classification, doesn't really work. So I understand why they do what they do. Pretty crazy stuff, chat. Pretty crazy stuff. But that's how they make groups. We're spot on. These are the groups with a fancier graphic rather than a spreadsheet. That is how... Well, I went to the wrong screen. Let's try this. Yeah, these are the groups in a fancy graphic rather than the spreadsheet. This is what it is. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes logical understanding to how they do what they do. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a totally different conversation. But these are the groups. If I had to pick out of these, I think Williams Resolve and Luminosity are going to be fighting for second, third. If one of those teams can possibly get an upset and create a tie and give themselves a chance, I still think BDS is going to take it. So BDS 1, Williams Resolve, I'd probably take over Luminosity, but Luminosity has actually been playing pretty well last time. I want to see them recreate it. Similar regards to me with Oxygen, where I need to see them do what they did last time, top 6, and see if they can repeat with their results. Obviously, they had a tough pull in that lower bracket, just like V1 did. So excited to see who comes out on top between these two, and if anybody can upset. I think Guild's just in trouble. The fact that Guild made it is also improvement, so good for them. This is a pretty tough group. I think Group B is actually really tough. Endpoint continues, hopefully, to show that they're a top 3 team. K Corp looked a lot better last time, but they still had some pretty tough competition. EG, I'm not super keen on. I think Williams Resolve and Luminosity are both better personally. Stormtroopers EG is probably going to be for elimination. Dig should win that group. Hopefully Misfits can continue to show that they're better than Vitality at times. Maybe Vitality bounces back. We'll have to wait and see. 00 Nation, I think, got the short end on that one. But I could see them possibly doing an upset. Maybe. We'll see. Group D, Semper, Queso, Cooksters, Minions, Navi. Queso, even though winning the last round, obviously because it's 3 most recent, has to do it again with a lower seed. Coming in as the 6th seed. I could see them definitely upsetting Semper and possibly taking first and giving a guaranteed top 6 again, which would basically qualify them for the major if they keep doing what they're doing. Glad to see Cooksters Minions back. Navi also in a difficult spot. Yeah, Navi's got to play upset on Cooksters Minions. Both sides. Big thing to pay attention to with Navi. We didn't really get a real version of them last week. The first game they completely forfeited because Virtuoso's ping was literally 800-900. Second game they tried to play, his ping was still 800 to 900, and he was basically playing rubber band ball, and they played 2v3 and lost that one. So we haven't really gotten to see Navi actually compete in the main event yet. So I am holding reservation. I'm not being too critical of Navi just yet because realistically we just haven't seen them compete. But we just haven't. So we'll be interested to see on how that group goes. I think group might surprise a couple people. The people are just going to see results and be like, oh yeah, Navi's terrible. But we realistically haven't gotten to see them play with Virtuoso. So we will find out. Hopefully no internet issues for all these teams. Hopefully nobody's sick. Hopefully nobody's feeling bad. But that'll be going on Friday. Should be fun. Those games start at like 10 a.m. my time. So we'll try to tune in and watch. But pretty exciting stuff, chat. Those are our groups. Shoutouts to Psyonix for putting these out sooner and sooner, even though it ruins my content. It just means that I can confirm if I was right or wrong or not, and I'm doing my math appropriately. So with that said, chat, let me know who you guys are going to be voting for. Who you guys think is going to win in their groups. Let me know in the comments down below as well. I'd like hearing what you guys think about teams and how they're going to perform. You think Navi's going to bounce back? Do you think Queso's going to repeat? I think it's pretty tough. I think there is a whole lot of competition at the top end, and depending on who's playing on the day is going to determine who wins that stuff. But that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys do have any additional questions, comments, concerns, as always, in the comments down below. If you guys do enjoy the content, you've made this far, you probably do, so make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up. Social medias in the description down below. If you want to come hang out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Lawler, where we stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday. We've got the lovely community in chat saying hello to the YouTube frogs. Appreciate you guys. But if you enjoy the content, hit subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the latest Rocket League news content. Some fun stuff coming up in the near future. We were teasing chat a little bit about some stuff, but that does it for me. It does it for us. We'll see you next time. Peace.